Hi, I am Medha Sarkar from India Currents, and I am here with Manjari Makijany. How are you doing?
Hi, Medha. I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing very well, thank you. Let's get right into the interview. So Ria wears a lot of kurtis and traditional Indian attire in this movie. What do you think this adds to her character and her character's identity?
Um, it's a very good question, by the way. It's important. Like, look at me. I'm wearing a kurti, sort of a short kurti from Anoki. And I think, we always take a little bit of something when we're traveling or we're shopping. And it's a nod to the Indian heritage, the Indian culture. And yeah, I think it was very important to make sure that Ria's character is just not completely all Western and American. She has that sort of Indian touch to her, whether it's a little bit in jewelry or whether it's in kurtis or whether it's just wearing, a pairing sort of a fun tube with a denim jacket. So it was important to give her both of those so that her character is well rounded and truly Indian American.
Okay, I must say your kurti looks very beautiful.
Thank you.
In the film, there is a school dance inspired by the Hindu festival of color Holi. It is referred to as the festival of color by most of the cast except Riya and Arvind. Is there a particular reason why it was not referred to by its original name?
So Festival of Color is sort of everybody gets Festival of Color, and that's why when she tells her dad that it's we're celebrating the Festival of Color in the school, and he's like, oh yeah, Holi. So when it's different when you're speaking to your family and you say Holi, and when you're in school and everybody recognizes the Holy Festival as the Festival of Color, it's like Diwali. It's a festival of lights, and
Mhm.
it's easier and easier for everybody to understand. So wait a second, what's Diwali? Well, it's a festival of lights.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This film was written by Carly Steiner and Josh Kagan. What did it mean to bring to life a story written by non-Indians on Indian culture?
They did a great job at doing their research and their homework, and the script went through many beautiful iterations to be what it was just before we went to shoot it. And then having an Indian filmmaker come in adds sort of its own sort of layer into the details and the nuances, and I made sure that that happens to make sure all the subtle nuances, whether it's in the costumes or if it's in the music or if it's in just the production design and the art department, that you can see and tell that yes, effort has gone into making sure that this is authentically representative of the Indian culture.
Mhm. What understanding did Miss Steiner and Mr. Kagan have before they started writing the movie? Like, how much did they know about Indian culture and the nuances, as you said?
Well, yeah, they did their research well, and they were pretty familiar. I mean, they had the jalebis and the samosas in there, and the rest of the menu. I was sitting and working with an Indian chef, and be like, oh, what else can be in the spirit of India? So a lot of the structure and a lot of the things were there, and I think that is the beauty of it. That to be able to, how amazing is it, isn't it, that you don't have to be Indian to be able to write an Indian story. It's so universally accessible, and that is the beauty of it. And then you bring in the team that tells that story and brings that vision to life in an authentic way. And I think that's a lot of reason to celebrate, actually, that for example, is this film shouldn't only be experienced by an Indian diaspora. This is going to be experienced by a mainstream audience, and it has to be accessible to that mainstream audience as well. So that was definitely one of the key things in putting together this movie. That it's not just niche India. It's not a story or a character or an Indian family dynamic that only the Indians will understand. It's a global story.
Okay. You said this film is directed to a mainstream audience, but what message did you want to send to the Indian American community and youth?
All such lovely questions, Medha. Really lovely. And I think the biggest thing is to make sure that we celebrate it, we celebrate our culture, and we're all about, family relationships and keeping the family together, and respecting our elders and celebrating our festivals and keeping that intact, but also sort of opening it up to sort of having children pursue unconventional dreams, and having and being okay with, like, not just sort of have kids do a doctor or engineer or do like a typical stereotypical job, but celebrating the fact that, wait a second, my daughter wants to be a DJ, and I'm going to encourage that, and keeping that sort of experience also authentic to a lot of Indian American families that I know here, who are very liberal and super chill, and that was important to sort of keep it fresh and contemporary, and keep it accessible. But I hope they all get inspired and get to see someone like them represented on screen, because that's fun.
So those are all the questions I have today. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen to my questions. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Medha. Thank you for your lovely questions.
It's my pleasure.